Hello and welcome to Just Like Me. I am here with one of my favorite people, Michele. And a lot of you will know Michele from our meditation group. She leads up our meditation group. You've been doing that. It must be over a year now.
Yes, I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see when I started that.
We'll take a look when we go into the section today. So Michele has been leading the meditation group for some time now, and she's a graduate of the open-hearted program, the Mentor with Melissa. We changed the name of that a few times. But she's a lovely soul, and many of you who have listened to the Just Like Me interviews will know you've heard Michele's name because many of you have we've talked about the meditation group. Many of you frequent that section, so we're really excited to have her here today and hear more about her journey in yoga, and also, how she is a member in our community and how she spends her time in our community, and also how she spends her time with her family and in her life, and just get to know her a little bit better over the next hour. So thanks for being with us, Michele.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this next hour. So why don't we start at the beginning, where we usually start with our interviews, about how you came to Namaste Yoga and how you made that decision to become a member.
It was when I was for one of my in-service training days as a yoga teacher. We've met up as the group that we trained with, and we've shared the day. So we've all had input into the day. Our course tutors planned it, and we've all played our part in it. So it was on subtle aspects of asana practice. So we all had to present some subtle aspect. So it got me thinking about the veils, and just through my research, really, I came across one of your videos, Namaste videos on the veils, and I thought, wow, this is great, because I've not really looked online much at other teachers. They tended to be, skinny and super fit, and all very strength, and it, not much on the spiritual aspects. So they weren't putting that side of yoga across. So yeah, I instantly loved it, and took quite a lot from that to practice. It was only a short practice I do in the class. So I followed the Namaste videos for a while. I can't remember, I don't think it was too long, and then I decided, I think it was the Mentor with Melissa course that really got me interested. That really sounded appealing. So yeah, I became a member, and then I decided, that was a big thing again for me. I've not done anything like this before. I've not done anything online or any of these meetings or anything, so it was... And really, I think that's been life-changing for me. It's just wonderful. I think looking the way, you started with yourself, didn't you? With looking closely at yourself, and acknowledgement and acceptance and loving kindness, and then taking it out and looking at it in the classroom situation, teaching students, and the light and shadow, looking at archetypes and the light and shadow side of it was really illuminating. It was fascinating, that, and it helped me really to see that we've got everything within us, the so-called good and bad, but we've got all those different aspects. Everything's there within us, and so when we're feeling fear, anxiousness, and things, we can, like you're always saying, dig deep. We can look within ourselves and find that strength and courage. And kind of thinking back over the years, I have missed out on things by, letting apprehension come in the way and thinking, oh, I couldn't do that, and then feeling really annoyed with myself and disappointed for letting opportunities pass me by, really. So, and then again, when you asked me to do the meditation, because I thought, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, it took some convincing.
Yeah.
I really wanted you to do it.
And I've grown so much through doing that.
I know. Well, no, you were born to do it, and I knew you were the perfect fit for it, because you had such a strong meditation practice, and you had a teacher in your community. You were already involved in a meditation group in your community. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that right now?
Um, well, I've meditated in the past. I tried Buddhist meditation with a few teachers, and well, I think that the teacher that I had, I was pregnant at the time, so it once Beth came along, it went by the wayside for a while, and I'd always really wanted to get back to it. I'd done some, over the years and things, but then I'd seen the meditation teacher I've got now. I've seen him around where I live for a few years, and just felt drawn to him. He's got such a presence, and he's got a great big bushy beard. He's I'm not sure, he'll be probably about late 70s. This big grey beard. He looks like a yogi, although he's not. He's never really practiced yoga. He's not really, hasn't got a great deal of idea about yoga, but he's into. He learnt Christian meditation when he was young in London with the London School of Meditation, and he did a lot of travelling and really trying to really, I suppose, find himself, and was quite. He called himself being quite an angry young man, wanting to put the world to rights and things, and he's a totally different place now. Just his practice is just everything to him. So I'm sat up in what used to be Beth's old bedroom, the spare bedroom. It's the church. I don't know whether you can really see out of the window. You can see.
Oh, wow, that's really close to you, Michele. I had no idea that was so close to you.
So that's the church. That was the excuse, really, not to go.
No kidding.
So I approached him and no, I rang him up, and he really liked to see people on a one-to-one basis at the house. But anyway, I went along to the church this evening, and I think because I'd had some experience, it was fine, really. He likes to give, one-to-one instruction to begin with, really. But then he had a group on a Monday evening, so he was just a drop-in group, whoever was there, really. And he just introduced it as, he's called it different things as a way of attracting people in, because with it being in the church and people think it's Christian, and he's not putting that side of it across, although he does offer the Jesus mantra as the mantra, but he said it can be anything. He just offers that, and he uses it. He says that is like a handrail, so it's something to focus the mind on, and you think of it like a handrail. So that's how it was introduced to me. But he said about just really sitting in stillness and noticing the sounds, and kind of expanding your hearing out with the sounds, and that was a really good way, I think, for people who sitting at all or experience any kind of, if the mind's very busy, it's difficult, isn't it, to find that peace and stillness, and you feel anxious and things. But so yeah, that's been quite a few years now, and so he's there from 4 till 6 on an evening, and he's there in the morning from 5 till 7. So he's very dedicated, and
Yeah, so you've had that great resource to tap into. So I knew you had that support structure in your own community, which was great. And I knew you had your own practice, and then you had just been through the program, and you had integrated it so beautifully into your life. And then also we had just been through the 8 limbs of yoga, which just that series, which had just created this really beautiful container as well, and structure to hold the meditation group. And so then together we used that as the container for the meditation group, and once I convinced you, off you went.
yeah, knowing how to put it together to begin with, and it just really comes from, it's not from me. I mean, and I say that about everything, really. All of my yoga, and especially with the teaching, it doesn't come from me, it just comes through me. So it's whatever I read, or things that come up for me that I share. So that's really what it is, because I'm no expert at all. I'm learning all the
Yeah.
time.
And also the thing that you do incredibly well that I watch is that you're really plugged into the people that are in the meditation group. You really listen to what's happening to them. And so based on what they're posting that week about their meditation practice, you're listening and you're responding and you're giving them a focus for the next week that is in response to what was happening for them in their meditation practices the previous week. So you do a really good job of really listening deeply to what's happening, like, and I can see even just in your space, and you showed me right before you came on, like Alice's postcard is in the background, and you've got her beautiful chakra mandala on you. So we're really connected as a community that way. I think that really happens. That's really happening in our community. We're connected. Ivy does that really beautifully in her section as well. That there's this really deep listening and sense of belonging that happens.
I think that's escalating. Even the short time I've been, it'll be 2 years now, this July, and it just seems to have, be growing even more. That's in the sense of community and the support and the loving kindness for everybody, which is wonderful. And like there's a lot of people that do, practice alone because of where they are in the world, where they live. They don't have people, or there's not like-minded people to connect with. So it is wonderful to have this community.
Yeah, it's great, and to be able to tap into that support, and for whatever reasons, people have a lot of reasons. Even some of it. It always surprises me. It even surprises me when we have a lot of members in New York City. We have a lot of members in California and big centers too. It's not just these small remote places. So there's a lot of different reasons why people tap in, and I think being connected to a group of like-minded people and belonging and having that support of the community is really fantastic. Yeah. So yes, thankfully, Michele is supporting a really super niche population of our community with the meditation group, and it's a strong and vibrant community, as many of you have heard from lots of the interviews. Many people have told you've heard, and in many of the interviews, that people love that community. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your favorite places in the community where we can find you when you're practicing?
I wouldn't say that I frequent anywhere. Definitely I've got one place I'll go to. I tend to kind of oversee a lot of places, and um, I think it's all great. Really, I suppose I go to Ivy's a lot, um, and I love that people can go and ask for help. And just ask for prayers and healing energy and things like that. That's wonderful. And I love the challenges, the devotional themes that she comes up with each week. And I think that's, she's doing a fantastic job with, going along with the inner critic.
Yeah. So that's the part 3 is out right now. So that's what I'm showing you, and there's tons of engagement with that. So, and it's been great to have that extra support with that series, because that series has been diving deep into the shadow side, and having that extra support here in the community, especially because there's been so much engagement in the community. There's been so much discussion in the community too. So to have that extra support has been super amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it's fantastic, all that work with the inner critic. Really, I think it's probably a massive comfort to most people to know that that's not really who you are, and that I think that idea of having a gentle gentle approach to it, like listening to it like a young child, or just acknowledging that whatever the inner critic's coming up with, and then you making up your mind about it instead of believing everything it says is it's a massive awareness, that isn't it? Once you come to realise that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so, so huge. And it's all yoga, right? Because it's a different way, a different languaging of saying the same things, right? It's higher self, lower self, right? What we're doing is connecting with our higher self, which is your truth,
Yeah.
and then putting your truth in action, and disconnecting from that inner critic, which would be your lower self. So saying things, the same things different ways, is helpful, I think, and that's what this series has really been about, I think. Yeah.
And I think that the inner the inner witness goes along with it as well, because then that's your higher self. So it's great
Yes.
to really um, observe it all a lot more closely, which has been really good.
And the other thing I really want to speak to here as well is how our community here has been part of the collaborative process of creating this series. So, because so many people in our community have been so open and honest about their process in this series, I've been able to include their stories with their permission in the teachings. And that's all come from our membership site too. So each week, and I can show you here on the forum. So here, if you go to, a lot of people comment in my blog section here on the forum. So for example, when I go to put together this week's class, I'll go to the Truth in Action section. I'll probably go through a lot more than that today. Um, and I'll read through the stories, and I'll see which ones speak to my teaching, the teaching that I want to bring forward the most. And then I will write them into my teachings, and I'll ask people for their permission to use their stories. And then that just makes our teaching, the teaching, so much more rich. And it's just been a great way that we've been collaborating and creating content, which I think has been really fantastic. And I look forward to doing more and more of that as a community. Okay, are you still with me, Michele?
I am, yes.
Okay, your camera's spinning on me. I think your internet speed might be a little slow, but I'm still capturing here, so that's great. Okay, where would you like to take us next on your tour?
Well, I haven't really involved myself too much with the weekly challenge, but I go and look at it, and I think Ulrika's doing a fantastic job with that as well. And I think that the new format of it is really good. With the shorter practices, and you've got a bit of all sorts in there, which is really good. And then the longer practices for the weekend,
Yeah,
and that ties in as well, so that's good.
I agree. And Ulrika and I will be meeting again this week, and we continue to really listen to what our members want and respond and make sure we're creating content here that they want. We know that motivation is an issue, focus, consistency, and we want the membership site to be a place that you can come and practice your yoga daily. And so this weekly challenge has been a way to help you to be able to do that. And Ulrika's just been amazing at doing this in a format that makes it easy for you to do that. And I'm just so grateful for her being able to deliver it in this way, because it's so easy now. You come here and it's all laid out, and you can choose to follow it exactly or kind of vary it up so that it works for you. And I agree completely. And our members they're just loving it this way. So we appreciate all your feedback on it like this, and we'll continue to do it this way, and we'll just continue to tweak it so that it keeps working for you.
Yeah, she's so lovely with her responses, and You know, she's got a lovely way about her.
Yeah, she's got a terrific energy. And her enthusiasm and love of yoga is just unparalleled. I mean, she lives it, and her dedication to the art of yoga is just it's just fully there, and you can see it in her videos, and that's inspiring and motivating too. So yeah, it's fantastic.
It's good to bring all the, you know, like I like the take five section, so she brings some of that in sometimes in meditation. It's good having all those, you know. Sometimes you wouldn't normally you get a chance to go to all the different places, would you?
Yeah, and that's been another intention for us in the weekly challenge area, is to vary the practices as well, so that you get to know the content in the membership site, so that you are getting to know some of the things that you might not know. One of our intentions is to make sure that we are including a meditation once a week, so that people do have at least one meditation once in their week.
Mm.
Yeah, so that their practice is varied, because one of the questions that we were getting a lot in the membership community was around, what do I do when I can't do a physical practice? That's one of the most consistent questions that I get. And so showing people that your yoga practice doesn't always have to be physical is a way to, just making sure that's part of your week has been helpful. And that's shown up in the responses in the weekly challenges too. That if there's a lecture in there, or if there's meditation in there, then they're responding positively to that, because it gives them permission to let yoga be something other than just the physical practice when it needs to be.
Yeah, that's really important, and that's something that I've, you know, taken on board for a while now. You know, when you put expectations on yourself, you think, oh, I should be practicing every day, I should be getting an hour's practicing. Yet, you know, and even when I've not meditated, if I've spent time, you know, in nature, I've had a walk and I've been very aware, or I've read meditation books, planning, you know, thinking ahead, then it's all good.
Exactly, that time reading, that's why we have the book club too. It's all part of it. And so to open up that definition of what yoga means to you, yeah, so it's great.
Yeah, and then the book club, I did start off with that, but then had a wayside. But Nicole does a fantastic job. I mean, her posts are always amazing. She shares so much of herself, but in such a, you know, she relates it so well, and she's just so open-hearted. Um,
Yeah. Oh, you're back.
and yeah,
I see you again. Yeah, Nicole's heads up our book club, and yeah, her posts, if you want to go deep in your exploration, her posts, she really does take people deep. So it's fantastic, definitely. And you can join in. We chose a book that allows you to just drop in anytime.
yeah.
It's not a linear book at all. You can join in anytime. They're reading Eastern Body, Western Mind, and they're reading Wheels of Life. So those are books that you can join in anytime.
Mhm.
Okay, where else can we find you?
I'm loving I love all the connective tissue classes and the postures and pranayama.
Okay.
Uh, they're really good, yeah.
Yes. So here we are. This is our newest section in the membership community, and it's in response to what we're seeing with our community now. We've been around for 4 years now in the membership community as of the fall, and we're seeing a shift in what people want. And so, what people want now, we're hearing, is they want to work on flexibility. And so it it's fascinating what's coming out in the research around movement now, and mobility and flexibility. The research in that is just blowing my mind. And so, as members, you are getting that leading edge research and innovation in the field, and this is where where we're offering it to you. And so this section, it covers a lot of different needs. One of the needs was the membership section. We are real yoga for real people, so we do get a lot of beginners coming in. So we wanted to have a section where we covered off each pose. And so we're doing that in this section. But it also is a section where we're going to bring you the best ways to improve your flexibility. And it's not necessarily going to be the ways that we've been doing it all along, because, this is the great thing about living in the 21st century is we have access to incredible research and to incredible teachers who are doing it differently now and who are teaching us new and better ways of doing it. And this is where we're bringing it in. So what are you liking best about it, Michele? What have been your biggest takeaways in this section?
I love the way you cover everything anyway in
Yeah.
related to the moon and Ayurveda, and that's so interesting in Chinese medicine. It's just so that's really an interesting side of it. I think if this had been available to me when I was doing my teacher training, what a resource it would
Yeah.
be. It's fantastic. Uh, and it's just so good how being able to go in depth with each pose. I think you really learn so much. Well, I just did that hamstring one, which was really good, and I like the Kapalabhati. Thought that was really really good. And I think I've mentioned to you before, I've posted a few times about the Hanuman, the Kapalabhati study. I love that class, and I could see a big difference there with the release in the spine and how the back settled into the floor. And I like that way of working, the soft butterfly Kapalabhati breaths. And
Did you notice a difference using the slow-mo ball before, like
yes,
in the postures in pranayama? So you're finding the tools using the soft tissue are making a difference to the postures for you?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and having more awareness of the psoas muscle. And, yeah.
Yes.
The hamstring one, I wouldn't say that I noticed any difference in the actual doing the Padangustasana, but it feels like my legs have gone as far as it'll go in a
Yeah.
way.
I
But
think that happens with experienced practitioners. You've reached your edge.
for my hamstrings, I feel as though I've got fairly decent hamstrings. I can forward folds are okay for me, but I did find after practice I stood and did some warriors and Uttanasana, and they were so much easier, and I feel so more connected and grounded. Usually your back foot comes, if you try to go deeper, especially in side angle pose, then that back foot lifts off the floor. Well, I felt more grounded. So yeah, there was a big difference. And I think you can see a difference off the mat. I can see a difference in walking, in stride.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, so two things there. Like, I think especially for experienced practitioners, you kind of come to a point where, the range of motion in your practice kind of hits the skeletal limits too,
and,
And then, why does your leg need to come further? Like, to what end, right? Is it functional? Really your leg needs to be able to swing to a certain point so you can walk, right? Other than that, why does it need, is it useful for it to be able to go all the way behind your head? Well, probably not, because actually that just makes you more accident prone when you're going up and down stairs and things like that, which you really don't want, right? So we have to look at the functionality of that as well. To what extent do I want to be more flexible? Is it going to help me or hinder me in my day-to-day life? And we're going to start to look at that more and more as we go into these. There's the hour on the mat, and then there's the other 23 hours off the mat. And then what you spoke about as well is like that qualitative difference in your experience, and you felt it on the mat and off the mat. So how does it feel when I'm when I'm doing my yoga postures, but also you said you felt different when you were walking. It felt more comfortable when you're walking, and that's important. Or so I noticed it afterwards when I'm standing at my desk. I feel that qualitative difference in my muscles. It just feels better to stand as a human being afterwards, right? And those are the kind of things that really functionally. So to what end are we practicing flexibility? Why do I want to be more flexible? Well, I don't I don't know. For me, it's to be more comfortable in my body, right? To have less pain, to have less dis-ease, to have less feelings of stiffness. So if I achieve that, then that's what I'm going for. So I think that's going to be one thing that we're really going to be focusing on moving forward is, really, do I want my leg to be able to go behind my head? Is that the purpose here? If it is, why? Is it that really going to help me in my day-to-day life? Is that going to be functional? Right? Like when you work with your fall prevention class, right? It actually really wouldn't help you to be teaching them that level of flexibility. Really, what you want to help them is to be able to balance better so they don't fall, right? If you were to start teaching them to move that leg that much, it's probably increase their chances of falling. Like you say, you want them to be more grounded so they don't fall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you actually do want stability, not just flexibility, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going with this section. And Molly was in your class, wasn't she?
No.
Oh, she wasn't. Okay.
No.
Okay. Anyway,
I
I
wondered
go.
where a lot the girls went to out of my class.
Pardon?
So I wondered where a lot of them went to because I've not heard of them since.
Oh, yeah. They get busy
Asking
in
about
their lives. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Hmm. So, so I made some notes this morning because and there was that many favourites.
Okay, I see you looking at your notes. What would you like to show us next?
So one of the early things I came across, I think, was The Warrior's Heart by Jack
Mm.
Corn, based on Jack Cornfield. There's a lot of quotes out of from Jack Cornfield, and I absolutely loved that. So that was that. Yeah, that's on your membership.
Yeah, it's in the long video section. It's a beautiful class. There it is. Warrior's Heart.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what you love about this class.
I think I like classes when they've got quotes and you're relating it all the time. It's just I like warrior poses anyway. It's just a really nice class. So there's a few I think, isn't there, with warriors? There's some on the of the Namaste ones. I did make a note. I don't know where they've gone to now. Um, and well, this is some of the Bhagavad Gita have got some of the warrior as well. I like a lot of those classes as well.
Yeah, they've got a lot of quotes in them as well. Yeah, which one? So those are in the short video section. Um,
And there was which ones had the quotes from Dan Millman?
I just did that one the other day. Oh, that may have been the forgiveness series one. Because I just did that one.
To say very good as well.
Um,
You've got you're so creative with the classes, and what I'm just discovering more now is I thought I'm going to go back and look at the deities. I think I joined in the between Hanuman.
yep,
But
yep,
I'm looking, or I might have got some of Durga on before I joined the membership site. So I started looking at those, and I like that, looking at the different aspects of
yeah,
the.
me too. My yoga buddy Shannon and I are doing the Hanuman series right now. And it's funny you mentioned the Kapalabhati class because we did Monkey Mind, And then we got to Kapalabhati and she's like, okay, we're staying here for a while. She doesn't want to move on. So we've been doing that one for 2 days now. We'll see. I don't think we'll be moving on too fast.
So I just looked at the one about grace. I forgot what it's called now. But there's a quote that you said that your teacher, Anita Gore, says, let's be serious about taking
Ourselves
ourselves
lightly. Yeah, so great. Yeah, love that.
a tapas. So it's not got to be that grit in the teeth determination. You've got to bring that softness and the grace into it. And,
yeah, that's from the Durga class. That's the something of grace, the discipline of grace. Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice one.
And one of my all-time favourites, which has been, I think, is absolutely fantastic, is Breathe, Love and Let Go.
Yeah.
So that one, that stays with me all the time because it guides me through my practice, and it guides me through sharing yoga in my classes, and especially when people are new to yoga. But I think, however experienced or new you are, that's the principles, those three cornerstones. You can't go wrong, can you?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Hearing
I know.
your story as well, where hearing your story about that how you created that class.
That class. Yeah, that class came to me. That class pulled me out of a dark place. I mean, I was really, really, really ill when that class came to me, and in so much pain. And when you're in that much pain, honestly, I just wanted, when I'm in that much pain, to be honest, there are thoughts of wanting everything to be over, of wanting life to be over. And then, what came to me in that class is that, and at that time, I thought I'd lost everything, because I'd lost so many friends. I'd lost all my work at that time. I lost all my clients. I'd lost my studio. I'd lost all my income. And it felt like I had nothing left, right? So, and then by the grace of God, I realized that I did still have my breath, and I did still have those closest to me that loved me, and it was okay to continue letting go. Yeah. So that class, those three things they saved my life, right? Just keep letting go. And so, I kept letting go. And that's been true through my life. Like, it's a scary thing every time I've done it. But it's always rewarded me tenfold.
Yeah, that's like the biggest take for me, I think, is letting go. I don't think I've had any too many major challenges in my life, but that
You have
just
too, Michele. Come on. We can go there. I'd love to hear more about how, because you've had huge I was just thinking about this the other day. I was like, oh, I've been through nothing compared to Michele. Because I was thinking, I don't know how I would survive what you've been through with your daughter.
Well, I mean that was, luckily, I think quite a lot of you know, but my daughter Beth, who will be 17 in October, it'll be 3 years ago now, she got thyroid cancer. And we just thought she had a lump in her neck, thought her gland was up. And then when I took her to the doctors, and he noticed she was quite nasally and sinus problems. So she went to the hospital, and I said, would you mind checking her neck? And he straight away, he put, the alarm bells were ringing, so he put the camera down and checked left larynx, and just went from there. Um, She went for the first operation just to have partial thyroidectomy, um, because they didn't want to take the whole thyroid gland out. Because if there was no problems with it, no abnormalities, there's always that risk to the larynx and the risk to the parathyroid glands. Had that done, that was fine, and then it was about 8-10 weeks we went back for the checkup, and I thought everything's fine. I went with Beth on my own, and to be told that the cyst was open and there was cancer cells spilling out, and it just and it just didn't seem real. So she had to go in and have the other part of the thyroid out a little while after. And then, thank goodness, that was it really. So it could have been a lot worse. It was a difficult time, but what's been the most difficult is the anxiety. That was the most, and that was even when we had the diagnosis. It was all clear. Just as our regular checks. It was the anxiety for me that's been the most difficult thing to cope with, and she still struggles with it a lot. But it's much better now because I suppose she can understand it more. But so yeah, I mean, it's the worst thing to hear that the child's got cancer. But we were very fortunate that it wasn't as bad as. For some people, she didn't have to go. They thought she might have to go to London for radioactive iodine treatment. She would have had to be in isolation for that. So we thought, how on earth would we cope with that? Because she just wouldn't be away with it from us. But thank goodness, it was fine. So we've been very lucky, really. And we're very strong as a family. It's Mark and I know people talk about soulmates, but we are very much. We feel like we've met each other. We're both guides for each other, really. It's a wonderful relationship we have. And Beth's been brought up with all of that. Really, at times she thinks, oh, a load of oogie nonsense, but she'll take that with her in life, and it'll be up to her with it, really.
So how did all your beliefs and your practices support you through that, and how does it continue to support you? Because, I know that you have, you look after your daughter on one end and then your mother, your aging parents on the other end too. So how does that continue to support you in your life?
I really find it hard I was really surprised at how I dealt with it all. I would say it was the anxiety was the worst thing to deal with, but actually the cancer, I can't really explain how I felt about it. I just felt like that I was supported. I just have that trust. And it's not like, I don't know really where it's all come from, really. I went to church as a child, but never carried on, go on occasions and things, but I've always just had that trust and faith that there is something greater that's looking out for us, and it's hard to explain it really is. I just really trust that all will be well, and it's all will be well, or all is well. It's acceptance of what is, isn't it, really? You only know where you're at, don't you, with everything. You never know how you're going to be.
No. So true.
I read a book, you've probably not read it, The Shack. It seemed to be sells millions of copies. And I just think that book is so comforting. And that's the Trinity. It talks about the Trinity. There was a little girl that was abducted, and the father gets a message from his father called Papa, and he had this abusive relationship with his father, and his father arranges to meet him. Anyway, he meets him in this shack, and it's the shack where this little girl's body was found. And when he kind of when he comes out, he goes into the shack in winter. When he comes out, it's beautiful summer day, and he goes to the bungalow, and then he's greeted by this black American Indian lady. She's gone, and then
Mm.
there's the Holy Ghost, who's this ethereal kind of character. But I just took so much away from that, and there's so much love in that book, and I know it did have a big impact on a lot of people, and also Neil Donald Walsh with his a lot of his stuff, and his I think it was the last book of the Conversation with God series, at Home with God. I think that's really, really comforting, especially people that are approaching the end of their life or worried about death. It answers a lot of questions, and so I don't know. I've just got this trust and faith, and everything stems from love, really, doesn't it? Love and forgiveness.
And that is, I think that is why you do such a beautiful service with the membership community, is that you do have this beautiful ground in love, this beautiful loving presence, and we all feel it, and we all feel held by it.
But it is that coming through you, isn't it? I do, because I'm really struggling to get yoga classes going, and hardly earning anything at it, but I love it, and I feel like it's what I'm meant to do. And just lately things are starting to come my way. So they rang me up from another market town, Buxton, it's about 12 miles away, wanting a yoga teacher for a gym. And first, straight away, my inner critic come in saying, a gym? I can't work in a gym. I'm not gym material. I'm not suited. And then I thought, no, I'm going to go for this. And I went last Friday. I didn't have any time. I went on the Monday to see the gym, and then I went on Friday. Said, oh, can you come on Friday? So I went. And it's 2 classes back to back, so that's not easy. And he said some people might stay on for the second class, so you've got to have two classes, haven't you, really? But I've still got to bring them out for the third class, because of still got to do the same format as a normal class. So I was honest with them, and I said, I've not done a class in a gym before, and it's doing this back to back. I don't know any of you. I don't know you. So you've got to be your own best teacher, so you will come to all the time. I said my prayers, and asked for the divine grace to come through me, and everybody to receive that. And the feedback after each class was amazing. For a new classes, you don't tend to get feedback, do you?
Yeah.
And the second class, there was a girl come up to me. She was maybe late 20s, 30s, and she came and she said, I came to this class feeling really angry, and she said, I feel so calm and relaxed now. And she said, and you've got such a beautiful energy. And she said, do you do Reiki? And I said, I did Reiki 1 and 2. And she said, well, we did a bit of Brahmari breath at the end, not long. And she said, oh, the energy around you then, and a few said the energy in the room was so lovely. So, but it's not me, it's just coming through, and it's just wonderful, isn't it? That's what's wonderful about yoga.
Yeah, and that's great. That's what's great about teaching in person, is that you get that energy and you get that feedback, and it's beautiful. Which, I think it leads into, I'd love you to tell people more about where you live, because I think, speak about where you live, because I think that's why, it is challenging where you live to get people.
I live in Bakewell. It's in Derbyshire, so it's like they call it the Midlands because it's in the middle of the country. So I was brought up in the northeast, near the coast, so you've got to travel a distance to get to the coast. I mean, it's nothing by thinking of Canada. But it is a beautiful part of the country, and it's a market town. So that I suppose one of the main incomes is tourism, so we get loads of tourists. But it's a beautiful spot, hills all around. You can walk out of the door in any direction, and your beautiful countryside. It's got a lovely river, winding through it. I can walk up the hill to fields and get fantastic views. But it's challenging to get classes going because there's limited number. There are a few teachers about, and Derbyshire's got the most number of yoga teachers in the county.
So small population, but loads of teachers per capita. Yeah.
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 And they keep training more and more teachers.
Yes.
And so I've tried in lots of villages, and the classes that I've done have all been lovely classes. I've loved the people that have been coming, but it's just trying to keep, to make it sustainable. It's difficult, but I keep going.
Yeah, you've done well. You've done well. Yeah. But yeah, you live in a small town, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small town, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got it's 31 miles from Manchester, 21 miles from Derby, 13 miles from Sheffield. It's very handy. The Peak District is it's one of the busiest national parks in the country because it's handy, for people to get to, really. Famous for the Bakewell pudding. I don't know whether you've heard of Yorkshire pudding. It's like a squashed Yorkshire pudding with like golden syrup gone hard in it. Very sweet.
Oh, I had never heard of that.
There's a thing about Bakewell tarts or Bakewell puddings, but there's a few shops that are really old companies that claim to have the oldest recipe.
Huh.
Have a busy market on a Monday, and then it's coming up just at the end of June, beginning of July. It's well dressing week. So around here, all the villages have well dressing. So it goes back to pagan times. Wherever there was a well in the village, they decorate it with they puddle the clay and put it on a board, and then they make these beautiful pictures with petals, flowers, and all natural things. And a lot of it's related to like maybe Christian stories and things, and all sorts of. And usually, like the local brownie, they'll have a go brownies, and so they're really lovely, and that gets a lot of tourists in. And a big carnival at the end of the week, raft race and duck race and things. So,
So what can we find you doing when you're not practicing yoga?
Well, since I got the dog.
Oh yeah, you got your dog. Do you have a picture, or is Poppy close by?
No, she's downstairs. She can't come up the stairs because the stairs, it's an old house and the stairs are really steep. And she's got long legs. She broke a leg when she was 3 months. I need to know how to take pictures and put them on. That's why I've never ever posted. I should have asked you when I did the Mental with Melissa course.
I think Tim may have done a tech video on that recently because there's been some questions about that lately. But if not, ask him in the tech thread because he'll help you with that.
It would be good to put something. Thinking of like the happiest moment of the day. This outside the house, there's a beautiful yellow rose from floor right up to around.
Wow.
So it's right up to the top. It's absolutely fantastic. And so yeah, walking Poppy. I've had some fantastic. I've put them up a couple of posts on the meditation site this week because my morning walks have been fantastic. With there was a swan guarding the riverbank, and every time a dog or anybody went near it was flapping its wings and hissing. And yesterday morning it was there with the whole family with these little tiny 5 cygnets. Oh, just gorgeous.
Sweet.
And then a little waterfall. I thought it was a little log going across the river, and it was a waterfall swimming from one side to the other. It's just
sweet.
So yeah, walking the dog a lot, and gardening. That's mainly. It feels like yoga's very
Yeah, it takes up a lot of your day and time and teaching, and yeah, for sure, yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else you want people to know before we finish up, or?
No, there was loads. There's just that much stuff that's fantastic, really. Say I like Amanda's Take Fives. I like Lisa's guided meditations. poems and inspirations. I go to that.
Yeah.
Um, and just apologies to both Lindas, really, because I've not spent much time with theirs, and I think they do a wonderful job with their areas as well. So I will one day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think, we were talking about this before we came on that, when you go to today's practice, or you said what's new, right? You go to what's new. You think it's like a kid in a candy shop. You just want to do everything, right? Like I find that when I go and read today's practice and I hear what everybody's doing, it's like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. But then I just, I have to take a step back and think, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then I find that's where having my yoga buddy is really good too, because I get like really gung ho, and then, I have a business to run and and a family. So Shannon's been really good for me because, we're doing the Hanuman series right now, and I'm like, well, we'll do class every day. And she's like, well, we can stay a few days on a class. We don't have to go. She's good. She's slowing me down.
um, Erica, and I can't remember who she was having a conversation with, because Erica had said about that Kriya and meditation from the spring retreat, and so I practiced that this morning. That was really good. I really liked that. So Kriyas I've not really done much of, so that's something I want to explore.
Yeah, and they're nice this time of year because there's that energy in nature to support you with them right now, because summer's in full bloom, and yeah, they're great this time of year. Wonderful.
I just want to say thank you again for giving me the opportunity.
If people are just dying, I'm sure dying for this interview, to not dying, but they're very excited to get to know you and have this hour with you too. So I'm thinking about what question you want people to ask you or how you want to respond.
I don't know.
I feel like we had some deep discussion around transformation. Well, we spoke a lot about how your practice comes through you, how love is the ground of all things. You spoke a lot about what books supported you in that. So I'd love to hear more from them, how their practice, how they've experienced that in their practice, how how love moves through them, how love is the ground of things for them, how they've experienced that through their practice, and also what books have most supported them on their journey, if they've read The Shack, if they've read Home with God, because those books have been really supportive for you in your practice, and especially in your most trying times, and maybe also what classes most bring it back to that for them too. Does that sound good? Yeah, so those will be our questions today. So thank you, Michele, and we look forward to hearing from everybody and hearing their experience with this too, because that's where we all grow in wisdom together, and hearing from their inner teachers just means we all grow so much more together. So thanks, Michele. Have a good evening.
And you.
And I love seeing Alice's postcard in the background there too. I have hers right on my fridge, so I see it every day too. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Good
Bye
night.
bye.
Bye.